Welcome to Keepers of the Word. We are an esoteric study group of Freemasons whose purpose is of sharing knowledge of mystery schools and debunking misconceptions about Freemasonry. You're here with Mike, Ron, Joe, and our special guest, Jonathan.
Any of the opinions expressed on Keepers of the Word do not reflect the opinions of other organizations or Masonic lodges. Today's topic:
we've gotten away from what our forefathers originally intended this fraternity to be, where men of like-mindedness could come together and make impacts on society, while being able to be a free thinker amongst sheep. We owe it to our members to give them that form of masonry, where they can feel free to make the decisions necessary to not only improve their lodges, but the fraternity as a whole. Unfortunately, in California, this form of Freemasonry is slowly diminishing and lodges are being forced to close their doors left and right due to finances and lack of interest. It is our hope this episode to shed light on what the true Masonic experience is and what the fraternity really has to offer. If those seeking are willing to put forth the effort to make it happen in their lodges, we hope you all leave with a sense of what Freemasonry truly is and what it has to offer to its current members.
The Masonic experience. What is the process for seeking admission into a Masonic lodge?
Locate, find a lodge in your community or outside of your community. Every lodge has a different personality, and the peoples of lodges are different everywhere you go. So if you have interest in knocking, in seeking the light, first check in your local community, and if you work in a different community, maybe check there. And for most people, either they know right away or they don't know right away. So if you know right away that that lodge that has a certain personality is going to be your fit, then that's the beginning of the seeking.
So something that is the close proximity to where you live, something that is where you mesh well, you feel good around the people around, because each lodge has its own energy, its own culture. It's each one is very different, and you need to find where you fit in and where all your where you're gonna be there for a long time. So you need to fit. Another thing is you need to prove to the existing members that you are serious about joining by helping with various events, projects in and around the lodge, which means, when I first started, we were washing dishes, we were cleaning up, we were doing the grunt work, as an EA. That's what's expected of you. And, in order to go through the prospecting and through your degrees, you're going to, I don't want to use the word hazing, but you're going to have to put in some work. I think that's
hashtag not hazing.
Not hazing. No hazing whatsoever. When you and the members feel you are ready, submit your application or ask for an application. That's first and foremost is asking. And how do you know when to ask for the application?
Well, I guess that depends on each individual and the particular lodge that they're at. I mean, here at our lodge, if someone were to show up one night and ask for an application, there's probably no one here that would immediately give someone an application that night, because not only do we want the candidate to know that this is the place he wants to be, we want to know that we are guarding our west gate, that we are protecting ourselves, protecting our brethren, our friends, our energies, our magic from outside sources. And there's going to be a vetting process at this particular lodge before an application is handed out. And
that even goes for current members who are Masons of other lodges. We also want to make sure that, you're a right fit here. I'm not saying that, it's the mesh, it's the flow. If it doesn't flow, it doesn't go. That's the way I feel about it.
That's very true. That's in my instance, I came over from another lodge, and there was a vetting process. Most people think that, oh, you can just bounce from lodge to lodge to lodge. Like you said, there is a culture. And the culture of this lodge was the culture that I wanted, but the lodge had to accept me. The lodge had to, I did basically a lot of the same things that the EA did. And it was the vetting process that was the beautiful, that brought the brotherhood together, that I got to see a lot more of the brothers and got to interact more, doing more activities. So it was, the vetting process here at LA Harbor is second to none. I love it.
Well, I'm glad you had that experience.
And we do have a special program here. This isn't something that's necessarily ritual or part of the Grand Lodge or anything like that, but we have a program here that we refer to as the Links program. You can see our large chain that's on the table here. We don't necessarily, that's just an example of the chain, but we do have a program for our new prospects that have turned in an application, are about to get their degrees to go through, where we require them to carry a piece of chain that has 7 links on it that will bind them to the fraternity. And we started this program quite a few years ago here, and it's been very successful because it is a prospective type of program. It's an expectation program for the candidates, but most importantly, it's a program that gets people involved. And so many times within Masonry, we hear that people go to a lodge and they get their degree and they go home and they don't meet anyone and they don't know anyone. And then next thing you know, they've gotten their 2nd degree and then they've gotten their 3rd degree and now they're Master Masons and they paid their dues and they have their card and they don't ever come back to lodge again because they didn't mesh with anyone or they didn't connect with anyone or they didn't know anyone. And so now they're just a card-carrying Mason, someone who's paying dues and had an experience, and that's it, and they go home. So the nice thing about our program that we have here at LA Harbor is that it gets the initiates involved with, whether it be busting suds in the kitchen or helping clean up or pick up or be around. It's forcing them to meet people that are here at the event. So they're getting to know faces, they're getting to know names, they're getting familiarized with everyone from the lodge and not necessarily just the one guy that invited them to come down or the nobody that they just sent a message to Grand Lodge and got directed to their local lodge here. So
you got a vibe, man, with everyone.
And so our one of our newest initiates, who is now an EA that has been given his links and becoming part of the brotherhood here at LA Harbor, is Jonathan. So you
where are your links?
Yeah, that's one of the requirements is that they keep their links on them. And if anyone asks to see their links, they need to see the links. They have to show them. In order for this guy to be able to go all the way through, we require him to have at least one of those 7 done at the end, and he can lose them. Luckily, we've only had, I think, 1 brother that lost links ever since we started this link program. Most of the brothers that go all the way through are very proud of the fact that when they get to the end, they have their 7.
Yeah,
Congratulations. So give us a little, talk to us about your experience thus far, John.
Well, my experience with Freemasonry, with you guys, I was told to check out a couple lodges before I decided to choose one. What did I expect when I came to this lodge? Nothing of what I thought was going to happen happened. Met a bunch of guys. We hung out, got to know each other. Still didn't know what the process to get in was. I think I bonded with one of the guys, Joe. Asked him, when are we all hanging out again? How can I get to know these guys? A reason why I even came to Freemasonry was prior 3 years before Masonry, I was on a spiritual journey and dabbling in many spiritual aspects, learning many religions and stuff. And I figured it was time to stop doing things without guidance. And if there was any organization that knew what was going on in the spiritual world, it'd have to be what they call a secret society. And I figured, you guys say you're not a secret society, it's a society of secrets. I figured it's the best place to come search and find my group of guys. If, all you see on YouTube is YouTube University is what you guys call it, is conspiracy theories and,
Illuminati.
Illuminati, right?
God.
And I figured,
Damn.
if you can't beat them, you got to join them. But when you start thinking about beating what, it's all really perspective. Like there really is no bad in the world. It's really all perspective when you really start thinking about it. And when you're not afraid to change your perspective on stuff, you figure, okay, it's time to go in and check what this thing is all about. So. And, my father was one and my grandfather was one, so I figured, hey, they're not bad people. Why not go check it out? So.
Well, I'm glad you did. It's been nothing but a good experience
for
me on my end, and I believe everybody else has nothing but good things to say, which is great. So let's go into what is expected as far as a commitment of service at time at lodge when prospecting. So examples, what have you done as far as, prospecting in the lodge to, get your actual application?
Well, I figure, what have I done? Well, it's been a lot of work. In the biker community, you got something called prospecting. Here it's the same thing, except you got to change your perspective on stuff. You can't come here if you're not willing to build a team or do something for your future brother, or you hate doing something for the person that's asking you to do it. You got to do it out of love. And a lot of it's charity work, and your brothers need to know that you're going to be there for them. And if you're not willing to show that over here, don't even do it. I mean, the only reason why I kept doing it, I was willing to prospect for a year, 2 years. I've heard people gone longer back in the days, and that's something you have to do out of love for your peers, just so they know that you got their back. So, that's something that I was, anything I was told to do, just go ahead and do it. Don't even put on a face. So
a lot of it came out to, for me, it was just being present and helping out and, taking care of what needs to be taken care of here, whether it's work parties, fixing up the lodge, or, taking care of your home away from home, making sure it's nice and tidy and everything's cleaned up. But the good part about it, and I experienced this in the kitchen when I was with Ed Taylor one time. We were cooking, and he's like, how often can you tell me when you cooked with one of your really good brothers, a really good friend, and you had a good time, and you were there just making food, and you're happy to put out that food for the rest of the brethren or the rest of their families? And I really sat and I thought about that. I'm like, wow, you know what? This is an experience. I'm in the moment right now. And this is something that I don't get to do very often. So it was special to me. And every time I'm in the kitchen with somebody, it's one of those things that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, because it's not very often you do that, or you can say you do that, and it's those little things in Masonry that build up the fraternity to what real brotherhood is. And I think a lot of people don't expect that. But again, each lodge is different. Each lodge has different expectations. There isn't one. I couldn't say there isn't one whole of what you would explain Masonry to be as far as the lodge, the lodge itself.
Yeah,
because each one's going to be different. To me, it's those little things that really make it special for me. And being able to hang out with brothers.
and like Jonathan was talking about from the motorcycle perspective of a prospecting is really about humbling yourself, being willing. You have to be willing to do whatever you're asked or told to do, and not have an attitude about it, not let your ego get in the way. It is absolutely about humbling yourself. And when you think about it from a Freemasonry point of view, it's a similar aspect. And the benefits of a prospecting process, whether it be through motorcycle world or through Masonry, is that humbling process gets you into the perspective that everyone else has done this too.
And on my side, it was very similar from the lodge that I was initiated in. I had a very strong worshipful masters, Seb Bedoyan, David Savage, Michael David Smith. And when I first started, I was doing the same thing. I was going in, preparing the food, helping clean up. And what got to me was the humbling part. You know, I was seeing these same guys doing the same thing. And you know, quiet as it is, we're alpha males. This is a group of alpha males, and for the most part, and well, especially in this group. But it's the camaraderie, the binding. You know, that we look to help each other. It's not, oh, I'm better than this, I can't do this. You know, we all throw out trash. We all do this work.
Yeah.
We all wash dishes.
Everybody
We all
does
dry. There's a secret. There you go, guys.
There you
The
go.
secrets of
That's the
Freemasonry is washing
You're
dishes.
gonna wash dishes, and you're gonna wash dishes with a 32nd degree. You're gonna wash dishes with a 2nd degree.
Maybe a jester.
Maybe
you know?
a Shriner,
Illuminati, they don't wash
maybe a secret Illuminati agent who's trying to take $300 from you.
They don't. Yeah, they try to
That
get
guy. It's on the level, and that's something that we say in Masonry. Everybody be on the level, because it doesn't matter what you do for a living or who you are in society. When you're
How much money you have, where you came from.
when you're in this lodge, you're just a person.
You're a brother.
You're a brother. I don't see anything outside of that, and you know we accept you. And that's what it's one of us. You know, it's kind of weird to say, you know, being on the level and you know, seeing people from different walks of life coming together and accomplishing great things. And what I mean by accomplishing great things is, you know, we do a lot of philanthropy, a lot of work, giving back. In LA, we have the Masons for MIT program. There's a bunch of other programs, Raise a Reader program. There's a bunch of stuff that we raise money for to help out our local communities. And we do that because we know that these things are important. We have to give back. Gratuity is probably the first and foremost thing as a person that you should be doing in order for you to, you know, ascend to a higher sense of consciousness. That's what I feel. And I feel that Masonry brings that out of you in different ways. And there's, you know, meeting new people that you mesh with. I think that that's very beneficial. So, moving right along. Different aspects, you know, you have the friendships and the brotherhoods, brotherhood, character and leadership building, philanthropy, spiritual knowledge and support, community services. I would want to say, you know, not every lodge has, you know, esoteric
Programs
study group or esoteric study group. And, you know, when I started at this lodge, it didn't exist. I had to really connect with certain people in this lodge in order for us to really create this group. And, you know, a lot of people think that, you know, every lodge is deep rooted in the esoterics, and they're not. And that's okay. You know, some people aren't searching for that. Yeah. Fortunately, we were able to create that here and build it on to what it is now. And now we have a nice following on Instagram. We got this show on YouTube. We got our own website. We have a lot of things going in a positive direction.
And we're doing something we enjoy and that
doing
we
it. Yeah.
feel brings value to the fraternity, and hopefully our followers believe the same thing.
Yeah, I think going forward, there's just so much stuff we could cover in, you know, the occult aspect and the hermetic aspect and the Masonic aspect. And there's a lot to learn from these things. And if you're searching for a lodge that's going to give you that's going to help you get down these paths and these roads of knowledge, I think you really need to look at specific lodges that kind of cater to that. If you're just looking for a place for just brotherhood and, you know, it's more of a social setting, then that's cool too, because, you know, Masonry is kind of both. It's a mystery school and it's
a little bit of everything for everybody.
It's a social club as well, you know, and you got to find your right spot, and for me, and I think other lodges in the LA area, for instance, you have South Pasadena and Fauché, Culver City Fauché.
Yeah.
They're known for being, heavy in the esoterics, which is, right up our alley. We're also in that same category. Don, have you heard of any other lodges in that aspect?
Well, haven't heard of too many lodges, but over the last several months, especially since Keeper's been picking up, I do a lot of traveling, and I get notices from brothers from different lodges that are either following the show or want to be on the show. So it's for those lodges out there that don't have that esoteric side of it, we're giving it to them, along with the South Pass and the Fauché. But we're a little bit more out there especially with the show and things along that line. So we are reaching people with it. So like you said, not every lodge has this culture, and if it's something that you want, you have to look for it.
Yeah, it's not going to come knocking at your door, definitely.
And if you're interested or think that you want to bring this type of culture to your lodge, it may be a very interesting road to go down, because sometimes you're going to go up against individuals or groups within your lodge that have absolutely no interest in it and don't want to have anything to do with it and may not want it at your lodge. We were fortunate here to be able to have people say we're not interested, but if that is something that you're interested in and you want to do, then do it.
What really sparked me once I started studying more of the esoterics with the brothers here, I already knew the magic of our ritual. Just reading through our books, and especially the initiation, which I know you guys are going to touch on. It was magical. It's a moment in the initiate's life that it's beginning of anew, and for a brother to not see that or not understand it is a loss.
It's a shame.
Total loss.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's a transmutation. That's what's happening. It's alchemical.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's a transmutation. I always look forward to first degrees. As Marshal, I like being the one to interrogate and go out there and really let you know how serious this is. Are you ready for this? Because at this is the point where you can leave. Before we go into the actual ritual, we're telling you
here's your chance.
Here's your chance.
Here's your out.
If you need out, this is it. Because if not, once you're in, blood in, blood out.
Get down
I'm just kidding. It's really not that gangster, but it's special. It's deep. It's something that it gets you at your core once you're getting initiated, because it's really trying you as a person, and it's making you trust somebody. It's making you trust somebody without even really knowing what's going to happen. And I think that's the special part about it. We were in South Pasadena with Julio Luna one time, and he showed us their room of reflection. Right?
Yes.
And he started to talk to us about the room of reflection and how they're one of the few lodges that have it. So all of a sudden, our wheels started turning, and we all got together and said, you know what, we need to make one here.
We want a chamber of reflection for our ritual.
Yes.
Which Grand Lodge of California allows. There's not a specific ritual for it. There's some real light parameters that they recommend as far as what to do, but there's not a specific ritual. So for the most part, we just pretty much have to get approval from our inspector that it's here's what we plan on doing, and he says, cool,
Good.
that's within
Good to go.
CMCs. We're okay to do that. So we created our chamber of reflection here.
Yes, and I believe it was a bunch of brothers that got together. We put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and created this room of reflection that is, for me, is very special, because we literally put it together ourselves, right?
We put ourselves.
Our
into
souls
it.
are in there. Yeah. Our magic is
our
in
energy.
there. Our energy is in there, and we want to pass it down to people like John. So John, let's talk about your experience when I first introduced you to the room of reflection. What were you thinking?
I mean, it starts way before that. It starts the weeks prior, you knowing that's something you have a choice whether you want to do or not, and not knowing anything about it. Let's go back a little bit. This whole coming to a lodge and getting to know the people, it's an interview both ways. You got to be able to trust the people that you're coming and you want to become their brother with, kind of thing. One of the things was I work a lot. I'm a workaholic. A few weeks back, I ended up in the hospital, dehydration, bad diet, working a lot. And every guy in this lodge reached out to make sure that I was okay and did whatever they had to do for me outside me being in an emergency room to make sure that things were going to be okay. You actually feel good when you know you have that kind of backup. Going into a room of reflection, you start knowing these guys that they won't lead you into anything bad. You don't know what to expect. You don't know whether it's a bad thing, a good thing, something magical. You have no clue. Going into this room of reflection and being the workaholic that I am, it was the first moment that I actually got to be in the present time. I got to think and feel for myself and
So you got to reflect.
yes, I got to reflect. And I don't I know I can talk about it, but I'd rather not talk about it because I'd rather it be
It's personal.
No, I mean, I would like to share later on with everybody, but I more want to keep the magic, and I want to keep it what it is. I want people to feel the same way that I felt going into it, so they get the same experience and
If
not
they have
ruin
the
it.
opportunity to
If
be
they have the
involved.
opportunity to do
Right.
it, correct. It's a great thing.
And it kind of expanding on your experience and getting into the chamber of reflection, it's a room that is very dark, and it's made for you to kind of be a little more in tune with what's around you. You're going to be afraid by being alone and in the
And
darkness.
in the dark. Mm-hmm.
So that's going to make you
primal
look
fear.
inward. That's going to make you pull deep down inside that courage that you need. Because if you're not ready, you're going to walk out of that room. You're going to leave. You're going to be like, I don't want this. But if you dig deep, you will get through. You will not feel fear, and fear will kind of dissipate at some point because you're going to be powerful within. And a lot of things all my life through, I was raised Catholic, through religion, you're taught to seek God outward. You're taught to look for God, right? But you're never ever taught to look within. I feel through frequency and vibration, we all are one. We all are kind of the same consciousness, yet we're not, right? We're touching on things and we're not touching on things. And I feel that we're all made of the same stuff that we were created with, and vice versa. So as above, so below. It's as within, so without. It's within you. You need to look within, and that's where you're going to find God. That's where I found God, especially when going on our trips, when we're digging deep into psilocybin and we're out there looking for God. We're actually looking inward. It's a different way of reflection. Yeah. And I think that chamber is very deep for me. And I think the way we designed it was for you to really, really focus. And I hope you got that. I hope you really, because you still have some more to go, and there's going to be other lessons taught. And I really hope you get that experience and you take it further, because it's very beneficial.
Yeah, and shortly right after that, because you don't know what's happening after that either, right? All I remember is one of the brothers telling me, just remember that there's always somebody with you. And even then, you have to have faith in your brothers that are around you during the initiation process, because you don't know what the hell's going on. But it was a very spiritual moment, a very good moment, and a very pure moment. So it was a good experience for me.
Yeah, that's how it was with my chamber of reflection. had the opportunity of having mine in a certain location that nobody else had. And I was the only person within that lodge that has ever done that.
Can you tell us where this location was?
Oh, I'll tell you guys off the air. The experience was, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. When I tell you guys the story, you're just going to be like, wow, let's go. But it was very similar to the Chamber of Reflections here, and exactly what Jonathan said. It's something that you can't explain it. The going in, that was the first time I actually went into a deep meditative state because I was surrounded in total darkness. I had to know that, man, if something comes in, am I going to protect myself? And I was just like, I'm good. I got brothers downstairs. They're going to take care of me. I got this, I got that. And it was a total spiritual experience that, how you said, I searched inside. And even when I went to the retreat with the brothers this year, it was the same feel. It was like the whole thing was over again, but I wasn't in a room, so to speak, because I was in a room there, but I was in a group of brothers that I knew, again, I'm with brothers that fear not. I'm good. The power was within. Anything goes on, everything's taken care of. There was no worries. And that's what I got a lot out of the Chamber of Reflections.
And I'm really glad to hear these experiences, because unfortunately I didn't get that experience, and I was very disappointed, and I'm happy to have created that for others, so that way now I can live that through them. So when I ask you these questions, I'm like, aha, yeah, I'm seeing, okay, this did work. This did, and it makes me happy. Yeah. It makes me very happy. So anything else you want to cover as far as the Masonic experience and your side? You came from, your father was a Mason.
I did. I didn't get the chamber experience. I absolutely, I'm at a different place in my life now than I was when I started my Masonic journey 14 years ago. And yet, even with not being kind of magically minded at the time, it was a magical experience. And I can absolutely look back and reflect upon my experience and realize how magical it was. And I especially know, I guess to a certain point, I knew within myself, being, having certain senses heightened during that experience, you're paying attention to things that you wouldn't necessarily pay attention to if you had all of your senses available. So there was that, and then there's a certain part of the ceremony during our first degree that was for me exceptionally enlightening, and to hear other brothers tell me similar aspects of their portion of that ceremony that was a very similar experience, and when they saw the worshipful master, it became just something that imprinted in their brain. And for me, I got that, and to hear other brothers say that it was a point in their degree that they absolutely will remember for the rest of their lives as well. It's obvious that it's magical, because that's something that it's the experience, it's the journey. It was a journey, and there was something that was taken away from that journey that will never die.
Yeah, it was a couple months ago that I know, Michael, you and I were talking about the different things with the ritual, and when you said it was magical, that's when I started thinking about it, and I was like, wait a minute. And everything is done for a reason. When you started explaining it to me, and I'm very aware of things that I do in lodge now, because especially during initiations, because it's a process. There's some serious male magic going on in there, and that's something that can't be broken. That's our strength.
Speaking of male magic, Do you feel it should stay male magic, or do you feel it should be on that male tip?
Are we going there?
We're going there.
Yeah,
we're going there?
I have to go there.
Okay.
What I feel is definitely the fact that this is something that has endured many years, 300 plus years, male dominated, and it's not because of a chauvinistic or misogynistic attitude. It's that energy, that magic. You know, in nature, everything works for a reason, and where our fraternity started was for that same purpose, for the building of communities, for assistance and different things. And that male bonding is what builds the team. That energy is what builds the team. That magic is what has made our fraternity last for 300 plus years. Not a lot of other things involved.
So what we're alluding to is there's an article that came out in our recent Freemason magazine.
We're going there.
Yeah, we're going there, right? Okay. Well, I just want to
Let's
make
go
sure.
there.
I
Fuck
just
it.
want to make sure
Let's do it.
about
Let's address it.
about the co-Masonic and female Masonic orders, which are not recognized, and by recognized we say irregular, or
not
you know,
clandestine, but irregular.
correct. So they're identified by our Grand Lodge as an organization, but they're not recognized in the fact that we would sit in lodge with them. However, there was an article that came out recently, and I got wind of the article, and I know that it's got has some people talking about it and stirred about women Masonic and co-Masonic orders, and I guess some of the brothers are just questioning or concerned about the direction of the fraternity in California. At least is this a direction that our Grand Lodge is looking at? Because with all fraternal orders since I think it was 1955, we've been on a constant decline in general, not only Masonry, but every fraternal order, whether it be Oddfellows or Mooses or Elks, and almost all those other fraternal orders have gone to allowing women within their orders. So someone told me recently that even I know the Oddfellows used to be Oddfellows and Rebekahs, but now apparently the Oddfellows are both. And so is this the direction that our Grand Lodge is looking at? And
just having that conversation and putting it on the magazine, and I'm pretty sure it raised mine, you know, because it's telling me, okay, this is you're kind of opening that door. And me personally, it's not for me. I'm not saying that. I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anybody else here. I'm speaking for myself. It's just not for me. I've talked about this in other episodes where I'm talking about the male magic, the male energy, and once you change that, it changes it all.
It's going to change. It would have an impact.
And you know, we have friends in other orders that have their own orders that are, you know, like Siren. She has her own order that it's all women, and she has her order that, you know, it's both. But at the same time, it's once you start changing those dynamics in lodge, it really messes with certain people as far as how you carry yourself, the conversations you can have, and things like that. It's now a completely different fraternity, or can you even call it a fraternity?
Order.
Because it's no longer a fraternity. It's something else, because a fraternity is all brothers, it's all male, you know. And I think that's where.
Well, we'll get our arguments about that. I've seen that over and over again
you have to
on
call
certain
a woman brother. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. For me, that's
and then it's a whole different initiation process, totally different.
Yeah, and
You know,
for me,
that's a lot of changing that we'd have to do.
I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying women cannot learn what is going on. You know, I'm all for education, but.
And I'm not saying that those Masonic orders that are women only are anything less than what they are. I mean, they're good. They're just they're not for me.
Yeah, for me. I mean, I'm just saying, like, why wouldn't you call it something else? Like, like, why does it have to be Masonry? Or, I mean, I'm not saying that they can't learn, things that are going to make you a better person. I'm just saying, why does it have to be the craft that's been like this since 1717, and either further back, going back to the Stone Guilds? That's just the way they were. That's a tradition. I like the tradition. That's for me in general. I just feel like there's a lot of brothers out there, a lot that are just not with it. And there's a good amount that are okay with it. And, we're going to agree to disagree. And that's okay. But, you have to pay attention to the bigger picture. I feel if you don't, then you're going to lose a very, very large demographic. And who knows where they'll go. It's...
Well, if the fear is because of like the Odd Fellows, Elks, Moose Lodge, all those that were declining, the fear is, okay, there's a decline. I'm not saying that that's the reason for a decision like this, but there really isn't a decline, especially within this lodge, with the education that's provided here and the true Masonic traditions being, put in place here. We've brought in different prospects, candidates, people interested in the craft again, because of exactly the model that's here is pretty much the model that's been standard. There's a lot of changes, there's been a lot of upgrades, and a lot of over the years things will evolve, but the basic tenets have stayed. And it's again, it's not a misogynistic viewpoint, it's a brotherly viewpoint.
Right. And I think a lot of this is where a lot of lodges are losing that Masonic esoteric education. They're not giving it out. Yeah. They're not talking about it. They're not bringing it up. There's no lectures. There's no groups of people like us talking about these things. And I feel if your lodge isn't involved at one way, shape, or form in any of those topics that I just brought up, then that's how you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. And that's where the decline is. Because if you study the data meaning, what people like, what people dislike, or what people are looking for, it's always pointing towards esoteric knowledge. And a lot of people join Masonry for that and don't get it.
Yes.
And I unfortunately was one of those people. And fortunately, I was able to form, with my good friends right here, we were able to do our own thing and create something that gave that back. And I feel that's a key in Masonry right there. That's one of the keys that you could unlock, open that door, and bring in more people who are interested in the esoteric knowledge. Now you're going to get, some nut jobs here and there, but, guard the Westgate well. Guard everything well, and you'll be successful. And it's worked here. Worked here.
When I came here and got with you guys with the esoteric studies, I felt like a lone wolf for a while, going to different lodges, visiting, because it wasn't there. And now I go into lodges, and like the other day I went to another first degree, and I was sitting there listening to a worshipful talk to the candidate, and he looked up at me and was like, "You all right with this?" I was like, "Man, I'm home." What else are you going to tell him? And he was shocked that I was so receptive to it, because a lot of people aren't. There was no one really sitting at the table. It was me, him, and the candidate. And I was enjoying it because it's the exact same thing that I hear every show, or we talk about every, couple of days when we're all just sitting around talking about things. It was home. This is knowledge that candidate was supposed to get, because he needed to know what he's going into.
It's so much like hearing about, whether it be a religious teaching where they say that you have to provide the food, you have to provide the nourishment, and the nourishment is the knowledge. And when candidates aren't getting nourishment, they're going to die. Mm-hmm. And if that nourishment needs to be esoteric knowledge and the connections of the magic within our fraternity and our organization, then it's feeding. it's doing its job. It's providing nourishment. And, that is, unfortunately, it seems that there is a lot of that missing. People are missing nourishment, and they're dying, and they're going away, going someplace else, or leaving completely from the fraternity.
Because you don't have that bond anymore. There's nothing to really talk about, right? And, we have our social nights here. We have them twice a month. But, each social night is different for me, because at some point, sometimes it's just social where we're just chilling, and sometimes it gets really deep into some conversation, that we're having, especially if you're talking to James. There's some rabbit holes that we go down.
It's so funny that you say that, because I was just thinking right now that I think a lot of this, the concept for Keepers of the Word and this esoteric study group, really stemmed from us just talking on Friday nights about stuff that we were interested in.
Did we just become best friends?
Yep, that just happened.
Yeah, you guys got to share James too sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Hey, every time I get the honor of talking to James, is there's so much. He has so much knowledge, and I like that. I like that we have brothers here that have different areas of
and
expertise.
It all started on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Hey, that's where I came in here. It was on a Friday night.
It was on a Friday night. What are you doing Friday night?
I know that's what you asked me. I was like, nothing. Yeah, we got a social.
You're gonna come to the social, and you're gonna hang out.
But, unfortunately, I haven't had an opportunity to sit down and talk to James directly. I've listened to him. Wealth of knowledge,
dude.
Just a wealth of knowledge, and it's a breath of fresh air. That it's not that. He'll tell you, don't go down this hole.
Yeah.
I've heard him say that when you said the rabbit hole. I've heard him say, nah, you don't want to study that.
Yeah, and you want to follow him, Kazak Listener, on Instagram. Please do that. He loves when people follow him. So, go give him a
He was
a
at
shout.
11 more last week.
Yeah, we want to get him up there. So if you can, please follow Kazak Lister. He loves it.
You won't be disappointed.
You won't be disappointed. He's awesome. Is he on? Yeah, he's probably talking shit. It's okay. He loves me.
He likes watching us.
Yeah,
What's up,
I know.
man? What's up, James?
It's a good addition to the team.
You saw that bone ossuary episode that I went live on. I know you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Also, Brian. Brian is another brother who is, he's knocking on the door, and I look forward to, having him go through the degrees, and he's very into the esoteric, and he's also very well versed in that knowledge. And these conversations that we have Friday nights, where we're just hanging out and having a beer, or doing our thing and enjoying our time and enjoying these conversations, is where this is what this is about. Yeah. This is what the fraternity is about, is for you to be around like-minded people that understand what's going on. And
you're getting value out of it, and you're getting the nourishment that you need, and the brotherhood, and the everything.
And the humbling. At times, especially when James is talking, you guys are talking, it's wonderful just to sit and watch. And even if I have something interject, I'm like, no. I just want to listen to this. Some people need to listen to that. Sometimes
and not just talk all the time.
Yeah, not just talk all the time. Just sit back and listen. No need to flex.
Yeah,
just listen.
Yeah, and I don't know it all, man. It's okay. I admit it. I don't fucking. And matter of fact, there's a lot of people that know more than I do, and I'm okay with that, because I'm continuously learning from other brothers and other friends, and people who are from other orders and things like that. And I'm continuously learning, and if I could take that knowledge and pass it on to somebody else later on, that's awesome. Then I think this is working for that specific thing, where a new candidate comes in, able to take the knowledge that I've learned from everybody and pass it on to him, and hopefully he uses it in a positive manner. Because there's plenty of people that could teach you things, but it's how they teach you that is very important.
And how you learn it.
And how you learn it, and how it stays with you.
Earlier when Jonathan was talking about when he was in the hospital, when he came into the group, it was a point when all of us were coming together. And it wasn't It
was a perfect storm.
It was a perfect
synchronicity.
No, it was a perfect storm.
It was a perfect storm.
Because it wasn't just the brotherhood. it was outside. It was businesses, Performance G, One World, Indigo Beehive, Omen. You know, we have a group of brothers that are not only brothers on the inside, we're helping each other on the outside. And, you know,
I think that's very important
and
too.
from my, you know, my standpoint in business, I was talking to Michael today. For years, I was a lone wolf. You know, again, you know, in business, it was, you know, I had to do this, I had to do that. And the biggest humbling thing was to hand off, for a brother to say, man, I got you. You know, I can
And to
handle
trust,
this.
and to trust.
And to trust it.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
hard.
wolf pack right
Yeah,
there.
That's, this shit is unreal.
Yeah, the trust and being able to really identify each other as, okay, well, if we're going to do business, the first thing is honor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Loyalty, and, you know, being trustworthy, and
all of our obligations as Masons.
they carry on over, especially in business. And I'm not saying that, in me personally, I've always said this, I have to vet you first. Even if you're a Mason, I don't give a shit. I need to vet you first, because if we're going to do business, then it needs to be tried and true. And I think that's what we have here in our group right here. We have that, and it's been working very, very good. I've been getting really good feelings since the beginning of that perfect storm till now. It's been a great experience for me, a learning experience, a positive experience, and I look forward to whatever else comes. It's an interesting road.
Isn't that the exact same thing Bob Haynes said in our Shrine episode, how he came together in the craft?
Yeah.
How the brothers,
I was just thinking about
'Cause
those
I'm
old
here.
those
Yeah.
quote unquote old timers
Yeah.
that have, you know, a lot of them aren't around with us anymore, but a lot of those guys, especially in this lodge, and I don't know about other lodges, but from the experience I'd had here, they were the same way. They connected, and it wasn't just about being brothers when the lodge door closed and the Tyler was sitting outside the lodge and they were doing their ritual inside. It was the after hours, and it was the weekends, and it was the trips to Kern, you know, for Whiskey Flats days, and the holiday parties, and the friends going over to other people's houses. It was the bonds that tied. And, you know, I've heard people like Sean Donahue talk about, you know, these are guys that I would have never met in any other way than coming to this lodge, that I call not only my brothers, but I call them my friends. And they're some of my best friends. And yeah, I think we're fortunate to be able to form bonds like that, and I think some of our ancestors here at this lodge were very similar and had those same type of bonds, and I think that's what has made this lodge great and continues to make this lodge great.
I agree with you. I think my first day that I stepped in this lodge was during a social night, and it's funny because I'll remember the day for the rest of my life. I came in a suit. I put on a suit, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. I walk in, and social night's really chillax.
Casual.
It's
we
casual.
already have kind of a casual.
Yeah,
sense
Alley
of
Harbor's
it.
very casual. Everybody was in jeans, and I see this guy, beard, and he had his cut on, jeans. And I'm like, shit, what day did I come on? Fuck it. You know, it was a good experience. I'm like, you know what?
I just got off work and I thought I'd stop by and meet some of you guys.
I was like, all right, well, you know, it was a good experience for me. I think, you know, it really lessened the anxiety, because I know a lot of people are always asking, well, how do I join? Or how find a lodge near you, see when they meet, and then go introduce yourself. It's that simple.
See if you mesh.
Just don't be a dick. You know, let's be realistic. Let's be real. Don't be an asshole. Don't be a dick. You know, go and seek out the brotherhood. Seek out brothers. Be a good person when you're doing that. You know, go with good intention.
humble yourself.
And humble yourself, man. Because a lot of these men who are here, and especially in this lodge, I look up to a lot of them because they're great men. They're good people. They're good family. Good husbands, good brothers, good fathers. I mean, I have a lot to learn from these people. They set that example for you. So it helps me with my son. It helps me with the guidance that, you know, I feel
The
that
husband
I
you
need.
want to be.
The husband I want to
the
be.
man
The
you
guidance
wanna
that I need to give
be
to
in
my
business.
kid. because my kid's a nut job, and I got to put him on
He's a pretty
straight every
crazy
once in a
kid,
while.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Slow
saying?
Joe Burns.
Slow Burn Joe.
Slow Burn Joe.
Yeah, you can follow him on Instagram, Slow Burn Joe.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
You just got to do it. But anyways, it's one of those things where you're taking all these good parts from everybody and you're formulating them into something that you can give back to. And I think that's the part that really, really entices me, because I get to give it back. At the end of the day, I give it back to somebody. Whether it's
again
this
going
guy
back to the tenets, good counsel. Always giving good counsel. And Michael, you're younger than me. Joe's younger than me, and I turn to you guys for counsel. Ron and I turn to each other for counsel, and it's not about who knows more. It's at times you need someone, and
you need someone to tell you don't do that.
Yeah, no, James Tony.
No,
don't do that.
No, please.
And
No.
and sometimes, like you were stating, sometimes it's a younger man that's telling you something. Sometimes it's an older man that's telling you something. And
I'm
if
open to
you're
both.
willing to humble yourself and listen and take the lesson and make yourself a better person from it, then it's worth it, regardless.
And those of you asking, you cannot be made a Mason over the internet. It doesn't work that way. You have to go to an actual lodge physically and then go through your degrees physically there in order for you to become a Freemason. This doesn't happen over the internet. Again, stop asking about the Illuminati, please. We're done. There's a lot of clandestine lodges that could possibly take your money and
will take your money.
Will take your money, and it's
And
like that. Protect yourself.
Is G above
No.
the East still out there? Is he still watching us? I know he's not. Okay,
No.
so G above the East talked about one experience where someone was going to make him a 33rd degree, and all he had to give him was $500 or
Only?
whatever. So yeah, it was only $500. So that
Sucks.
he knew about it right away, so he recognized it. Luckily, but unfortunately, people are being preyed upon.
Yeah, it was
It is what it
the
is.
other day. A good friend of mine had a city bid procurement, and a gentleman came in that was going for the bid, and he dropped down a business card, and immediately my friend took a picture of the business card, shouted over to me, and said, "Hey, do you know this guy?" That business card had more Masonic credentials on it than I'd ever seen in the world. Immediately, I shouted over to you guys, and it was a joke to us, but
It was a joke, but it wasn't a
it
joke.
wasn't,
I mean,
yeah.
luckily for those of us who know about clandestine organizations, we are able to recognize. In the state of California, we are free and accepted Masons, and any
FNAM.
recognized organization within California are FNAM, free and accepted Masons. The other faction of Masonry is ancient free and accepted Masons, or AF and AM. And in other states, AF and AM, Texas, a lot of the eastern seaboard has AF and AM, Massachusetts, etc. California is F and AM. There is not a recognized AF and AM organization in California that is legitimate. This business card had AF and AM on it. So it was immediately, right away, known for me, this is clandestine. This is not a legitimate Masonic organization. So it is what it is.
And I like how he had to point out that he was a 33rd, illustrious
He was illustrious.
33rd.
and Master Mason.
Most
He had
33rds that I've
everything up
met
there.
never tell you that they're 33rd.
Yeah.
And you don't know because unless you're involved in the Scottish Rite
And you see it on the
you
wall.
see it on the wall or you see their hat and, going down that road. And some 33rds that I've met, they would have never told you, and they're really cool people, man. I know we hold that's an honorary degree.
Yeah.
For those people that
That's how they got
you're
it.
not
because
a high enough level Mason.
Yeah.
Those folks right there. The 33rd is the highest, but it's honorary. That means that you've done a lot of work and you've helped out your community a lot in order to get that honor. So it's it's a very special degree, I feel, and hopefully one day one of us can go down that path and maybe we get it, maybe we don't, but I'm not here to get the 33rd. I'm here to build this brotherhood and be here with my brethren and help, make this fraternity greater than what it is.
And it's a shame when individuals like that with that card wants to be out there, and I'm saying perpetrating a fraud because of the work that I see done here, the work that I see within a lot of the Masonic lodges here in California. We would never go out and drop down a card to try to gain business.
Right.
We don't recruit.
We don't recruit. We don't promote. You may catch us with our square and compass shirt on or something like that, but we're not out
because we're proud of our
proud.
fraternity.
I'm proud of
and
my
our
fraternity, and I wear it for you to ask me.
Yeah.
If you want to join this, if you see a man wearing a square and compass, you ask him, hey.
But it's not for business purposes.
No,
we're not doing this to, hey, can I get free concert tickets?
No.
Ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen. No Lady Gaga for you.
Hey guys, so when do I get my $1 million check?
Oh, you didn't get that.
Okay. Since you're on jokes, I got some a little more lighthearted for you here. So you're talking about showing up in your suit. So when I was growing up as a kid, my dad's lodge was a very formal lodge. They wore tuxedos to every event, including their stated meeting nights.
Whoa.
So Pops always had a tuxedo on. So I knew comes time for me to join. All right, my first stated meeting, I get in my tuxedo, and I show up here, and the guys are in their, it was probably the summertime, so I think they may have been in their Hawaiian shirts and, khakis, really, really casual, and I was like, I'm a little overdressed. Luckily, I live 5 minutes away from lodge, and I was able to go back home and get a little bit less dressed up, a little more casual. But
what would you have done if you came back less casual and then they had on
they would have been tuxedos? I probably would have gone home and never came back.
Like,
okay, that's it. It's
tuxedo T-shirts.
I'm done.
Should always have one. Oh man. So yeah, I mean, those experiences when you're knocking, you'll never forget them. I'll never forget mine. And it's one of those things where you learn right then and there what the culture is at that lodge, and each one is different. And no matter where you are in the United States, I know for the United States, it's different in each state. It's different in each lodge, and you're going to be around different folks with many different views of esoteric knowledge. And hopefully, if you're into that, you find that lodge that you fit in with, and you're able to learn. You're able to learn these things. And I'm very happy to have this group. I'm very happy to create this for us. Ron is the father of Keepers of the Word, and I'm very, very happy that he brought us into this fold and we made this happen. It wasn't something that just transpired overnight. It literally took several, I want to say years, before we actually did something.
It's taken years. It's taken multiple brothers. It's taken lots of ideas and energy to direct it where it is now. And it's, like I always say, when we plant the seeds for future shade trees, we don't necessarily know what kind of benefits we're going to personally get out of it, but there's already been so much flourishing within this organization, within the Keepers of the Word, that it makes me proud to know that I've been a part of it and been involved in it, and continue to enjoy it myself, and want to continue doing the things that we're doing within this. So
yeah, I think going forward we have a lot of things going on, especially like with our inception of Esoteric Con, which is pretty much uniting everything into one place, and we're doing that here September 7th, which I think is going to be really awesome. Go to keepersoftheword.net to get your tickets, and you'll see some more information on there on how you could be a vendor or how you can be involved. I feel us being able to bring that to the table, along with other lodges that share our same common interests. Like for instance, South Pasadena, they're having a Masonic con very soon. That is going to be huge, especially over there. We went to that lecture with Lon Milo Duquette, and they gave out a whole bunch of information. And you go to, I guess, South Pasadena Instagram, and you could check their links, and you can go to MasonicCon.com and check them out. they're putting on a huge production, 3 days in at their lodge. They're going to have a bunch of lecturers. They're going to have screenings. I believe Johnny Royal's
I
show.
think they're doing their debut for Illuminati.
Illuminati's,
at
the debut is going to be there. Johnny Royal is, I believe he's going to talk about it, which I definitely want to check out. So I have a feeling Keepers of the Word is definitely going to be there at Masonic Con. So if you can come chill with us, hang with us. We're gonna get involved. And Dago, hopefully we get Dago on the show soon. I look forward to that. And going forward, there's just a bunch of things we got going on, man. Like with Omen, with everything and it's all positive, it's all great, and I love it, man. And I think it's going to just continue to flourish, with our production, with the people that we have around us. It's a positive thing for me, and I've had nothing but good things happen. So I'm really grateful for you guys, and I'm really grateful for everybody we've come in contact through this vessel of Keepers of the Word.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed. So that's it. Okay, so let's wrap it up, and let's talk about let's give some shout outs real quick. I want to say what's up to at Refreshment. It's a new show. Give them a like, a follow, and check out their show. They're about Mason brothers at Refreshment, having a beer and talking about Masonry, and it's something different. And I think there's something that we could also take away from what they're talking about. And I think Brother Carl Hearn is on that show, right?
Yes.
From Ascended Masters Clothing. Go ahead and check out his clothing. I recently called somebody out on our page who was these companies were stealing his clothing designs,
his ideas,
and putting them on as their own. And I ask every Mason, man, make sure you know who you're buying your stuff from, because there's a lot of guys on there pretending, creating these fake accounts. They're not Masons. They're just putting on, they're copying and pasting things, and they're making you believe they're Masons, and you're buying their clothing. And it's, might as well just go on.
If you can't communicate with them, if you can't have a conversation with them, if you can't look at them being more than just a bunch of Masonic symbols that they post in all their pictures, but you can see them you see Brother Carl Hearn, he's involved with
everything.
Lots of different organizations, and he's going to conventions, and he's posting all that stuff. It's obvious that he's a brother and his intentions are right. And so to want to spend less money on a knockoff product is not only disrespectful to brothers, but it's just outright
wrong,
obnoxious, and wrong.
I've,
so
on that post, I saw a lot of brothers stating, well, it's cheaper here, it's cheaper there. Only thing you're doing is destroying a brotherhood.
yeah,
because
I'd rather pay the extra $5
and supporting Cowans.
You're supporting
Cowans.
a guy who just doesn't give a shit about Masonry, dude. If you're gonna buy from Freemasonry Graham, Brick Masons, there's a whole bunch of those sites that, they're just fake, and I'll call you out on it. I don't care if you got a problem.
What did somebody said something about that? A lot of these sites are in countries where Masonry isn't even legal.
Exactly, like they're from Pakistan or they're from China. And I don't know if we have a lodge in China. I doubt we do. But that's where they're from, and if you're supporting that, well, good luck to you, man. But I think it sucks, dude. And that's where I stand, so follow, support your brothers. Also Fossil Bluff, he makes some badass things, and check him out. There's a couple other brothers I wanted to mention. Fraternal Ties, man, he makes some awesome ties.
Nice.
Really cool stuff. There's a lot of brothers out there that really make cool things for brothers. They're by brothers, so make sure you're doing business. If you're a brother, do business with brothers, because you're helping him out. That's how he's making a living. That's how he's
supporting his family
and bringing you cool new stuff. So check them out.
That's how it was done in the old days.
Exactly. We help each other out. We support each other, and I think that's very, very important. So another, again, Masonic Con coming up. Make sure you check that out. I want to say what's up to Samsung Technologies, Performance G Motorsports, LA Harbor. Thank you for letting us use this lodge. Indigo Beehive Creative, which is the production company that takes care of this, and a bunch of other things. And most importantly, all of our fans, thank you. Really, thank you very much, because it just makes it better. I love doing this, and I'm glad I can give you this content.
I'd say one thing. Any local lodge out there that they have degrees coming up, anything along that line, any of our followers, drop us a line, let us know. You know, Keepers is always on the road. We want to come out and see you and support you.
We like to support other lodges. We like to come out for degrees.
Oh, and congratulations to one of our followers, Shane Shoemate. Just was initiated at Garden Grove Lodge. So
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And one last thing, guys. Make sure you guys get your Keepers of the Word pin on keepersoftheword.net. The guys are working really hard on exclusive access to things for people that support the show. So we'd really appreciate if you guys can grab some of those pins on the website.
All right, and that's all we got for today. We knocked out this episode, and thank you very much. Over.